Good day, everyone, and welcome to this channel dedicated to the study of business analysis. As we know, in the last couple of years, a lot of people have been wondering on how they can transition and take up a career in tech. And one of the careers that exist that people can take up in tech is to work as a business analyst. And so, in this channel, we're going to dedicate it to talking about business analysis and walking people through the process into understanding what it takes to be a practice as a business analyst. And so this course is introduction to business analysis. My name is Ifanyuko. I am a registered engineer and I'm a certified Scrum Master as well as a certified business analysis professional from the International Institute of Business Analysis. And I'll be your instructor as we proceed on this course. So before we talk about business analysis, I think it would be wise for us to look at the certification that we have in business analysis. Business analysis is a field that is regulated by IIBA. IIBA is a regulatory body that certifies business analysis professional across the globe. They are headquartered in Toronto, Canada. They do this by specifying a code of a guide called the Babok Guide, which contains all that is required for anybody who is desirous of becoming a professional business analyst. At the end of the day, you now sit and write for the certification exams, and upon passing that, you now have been authenticated to practice as a business analyst, because they understand that business analysis takes some years of experience for you to acquire the right skills and experience to function as a business analyst. They've categorized the exams into three stages. They have the entry level, they have the mid level, and they have the advanced level for people who have had sufficient experience. So if you look at the screen, you'll see the ECBA is the entry level for entry level certified analyst. This exam is designed for people who are fresh, who have no experience at all in the practice of this analysis. They can sit for these exams, while the mid-level requires you to have about 2 to 3 years experience in the practice of business analysis. That's the CCBA, Certification of Capability in Business Analysis. The last one, which one that requires you to have the most experience, underscores that you must have at least a minimum of 5 years experience in business analysis, and that's the CBAB, the Certified Business Analysis Professional. So let's look at these exams in details more, starting with CBAB. So for you to be able to write CBAB, expectation is that you would have practiced business analysis for 5 years. You are expected to log into the site iiba.org, create a profile. It's always advisable to register as a member, because when you register as a member, the fees you pay is usually lower than that of non-members. And at the point of registration, you are required to provide evidence that you have completed a minimum 35 hours of professional development in business analysis in the last 4 years. I also provide evidence to show that you have experience in business analysis in 4 out of the 6 knowledge areas. Those are part of the requirements, and then you make payment for the application. At that point, randomly, the audit unit of IIBA can decide and select an application for audit. So if you're only selected for audit, you'll be contacted, and your references or referees will be contacted to make some confirmations concerning your application before it is approved. And upon approval, you can now proceed to make payment for the exam fee and schedule for the exam. Exam usually taken either online or through a protracted center. As you will see on the next screen, it's usually a 120 question exam spanning for 3.5 hours, and you'll be tested across the 6 knowledge areas, categorized across in the following percentages. For the business analysis planning and monitoring knowledge area, 14% of the questions will come from there. For elicitation and collaboration, 12% of the questions will come from there. Requirement life cycle management, 15% of the questions will come from there. And for strategy analysis, 15%. Requirement analysis and design definition has the highest allotment, 30%, and then solution evaluation has 14% of the questions coming from there. So we'll proceed to look at CBAB. Why CBAB? Why do I really need to undertake this course? Why do I need to get certified? Certification, in addition to the experience you would have had as a business analyst, is a testament, is a confirmation to the fact that you have what it takes to compete globally. You have what it takes to deliver globally. You have what it takes to practice globally as a business analyst. And so that's why it's advised for any field where you're practicing to ensure that you have the requisite professional certification in that field. As you would see, these are some of the benefits that comes from having the certification. There's that prospect of you, of course, getting significant salary raise from where you work. It helps for career growth and advancement. Of course, it speaks to global recognition. It means you can come and work anywhere across the globe as a business analyst. And it also increases your employability and job readiness. It boosts your confidence because the process of getting certified and the training involved exposes you to a lot of scenario-based experiences because the questions are scenario-based, and at the end of the day, you see yourself coming out a more refined business analyst, so to speak. So it's just important to mention this before we start moving deeper into the course of business analysis, seeing that this is an introductory class. I'll also talk about the other two certifications. So the IIBA is an entry level. Because it's an entry level, you're not expected to have any experience. The questions are usually just 50 multiple choice questions, lasting for only 60 minutes. While the mid-level exam, the certification of capability in business analysis, is for people, like I said earlier, who have practiced for about 2 or 3 years. They just have mid-level experience, and it's not as tough. The exam is not as tough as it would be for somebody who is taking CBAB. It's a 130 multiple choice scenario-based question lasting for 3 hours. Like I said, all these exams can be taken either online or physically through a PSI accredited center. Okay, so down to the business of the day. Most times you hear people talk about business analysis. At times people also try to confuse it with data analysis, and at times people don't even know the difference between the two. But in this introductory class, our goal here is to expose you to understand what business analysis is all about, and to ignite your interest should you decide to take up this as a profession, to guide you through the ropes, expose you to real life experiences, expose you to the real life projects. You see what it takes to be walk in the shoes of a business analyst, and see what it takes to be a business analyst, what the expectations are, what the skill sets are, and how you conduct yourself on a day-to-day basis. So Babok defined business analysis as the practice of enabling change in an enterprise by identifying needs and recommending solutions that deliver value to all stakeholders. And so you will observe in that definition that we've highlighted some keywords. Now, those words we've highlighted in bold are what the Babok calls the business analysis core concept model. These are the core concepts that define what business analysis is. If you look at that definition again, you will see that it's a practice. So it's more or less a methodology, something that you do and as you do, you perfect from it. And that practice is a practice of enabling change. So, and the change we are change enablers as business analysts, but the change we enable or the change we orchestrate is not done in isolation. Is done within the context, within a context, within an enterprise, within an organization. And how do we even enable that change? So we enable the change by understanding the need, by synthesizing the need, by making sense of the need. And only when we've done that, that we can now come up with solutions. We can now recommend solutions, but not any type of solution. The only solution you are permitted to recommend as a business analyst is the one that deliver value uh, to all stakeholders, and that's very, very important. This definition, as we move ahead, you'll find the deep meaning that each of these words carry when we begin to look at the concept of change and the concept of enterprise, what enterprise really means, the difference between an enterprise and an organization. And when we begin to look at the concept of needs and how needs can either be a problem we're trying to solve or an opportunity we are trying to take advantage of, how solution can be seen as one or many ways of satisfying a need, and how we come up with solution and recommend the one that deliver value. So you can see that solutions in this definition is plural. So you're expected to come up with many ideas of how the problem can be solved. By the end of the day, you recommend a particular idea, the one that delivers the most value. Uh, Not to just one stakeholder, but to stakeholders. So it's an aggregate stuff. You must have evaluated how it will give value to the enterprise, how most of the stakeholders in the enterprise will derive value from that solution, and that becomes the one that you recommend as a business analyst. And so you find that from this definition, most people apparently might be functioning with as a business analyst without even knowing that that's what they're doing. As we walk through the course, you find out that there are specific tasks spread across the knowledge areas. And Babok made bold to say that anybody who undertakes those tasks, regardless of nomenclature, regardless of whether they are called business analysts in where they work or wherever they find themselves. Babok said that those people are business analysts. And so you see that in the course of trying to understand business analysis, we're going to be looking at it from different levels. We're looking at the need we're trying to solve. We're looking at it from the strategic level when we're talking about the management level. We look at it from the tactical level when we talk about the middle management. And then we look at it from the operational level when we look at it from the end user level. So business analysis can be viewed from any of these perspectives or any of these levels, so to speak, or any of these horizons, so to speak. So it's a practice. It's a practice. As we walk through, we'll begin to educate ourselves as so the do's and don'ts, the expectations of what the business analyst is expected to do. And so Babok provides a perfect guide that teaches us what we expected to know as business analysts. And not just for the BAs also, but the stakeholders who employ BAs, the Babok also provides a guide of the expectations of what they are meant to demand or see from the business analysts that work with them. All right, so we're going to make progress now. So we look at who is a business analyst. And like I said earlier, according to Babok, they clearly stated in black and white that anybody who performs the tasks that spread across the knowledge areas, that person is a business analyst. And the key thing here is that the tasks in each of the knowledge area are logically arranged, but it doesn't necessarily mean that they must be performed sequentially. As we move along, you'll find that most often than not, you find that those tasks are even performed iteratively and simultaneously, so to speak. All right, so we've tried to understand who a business analyst is. We say it's anybody who performs the tasks listed across the knowledge areas as the responsibilities of a business analyst. Most times you find that, especially in a tech environment, or in any organization, that the business analyst works as a liaison, as a bridge connecting stakeholders. So he's the interface, he's the intermediary between the business team who are presenting the needs and the technical team who will be implementing the solution. The business analyst is expected to interface with the business need, with the business team, understand their needs, clearly define their needs, come up with a solution, and take that same solution to the implementation team, who will now build the design into solution. So it's an intermediary role, a liaison role, and you will find this more when we start looking at the perspectives, when we start working through the various perspectives of which a business analyst can function in an organization. You'll see this liaison role becoming more visible. Now, the following responsibilities are what usually you would expect from a business analyst. You expect that the business analyst is able to understand problems, is able to understand needs, is able to see opportunities, is able to clearly define goals, but not just goals, is able to define objectives within the enterprise and within the context of the requirements being elicited. Of course, we expect that in trying to understand need, they should be able to elicit, draw out information from stakeholders so that they'll be able to understand the actual needs of the stakeholders. We also expect as business analysts to have the skills to be able to come up with strategies, plans, and come up with various ways of solving a problem. That means they should be able to come up with various design solution options. And then after evaluating all the options, they should now be able to recommend the one that delivers the most value to the stakeholders. So like I said earlier, they are change enablers. So they should be able to drive change. They should be able to move an organization from its current state to its future state. They should be able to see the gap, perform gap analysis, see the gap that exists. They should be able to understand the enterprise readiness and the capability, enterprise capability analysis, see whether for what change they intend to embark on, whether the organization has the right capabilities to be able to embark on that change. And in doing this, very importantly too, because they don't work in space, they work with human beings. Expectation is that a lot of stakeholder collaboration is needed on their part to be able to get everybody to align with the business goals and objectives of the change that they're embarking upon. So that's basically, in a very summarized version, the responsibilities of a business analyst. So we're going to proceed to the next slide, and this speaks to the common titles by which the job role of a business analyst is known. At times you see some organizations where they are called the business architect. Some organizations also call them business system architect. In some other organizations, you find them as data analyst or enterprise analyst or management consultant, process consultant, product manager, and product owner. But the most important thing is, at the end of it all, let it be that the business analyst understands his responsibilities in that organization. We also have them as requirements engineer or system analyst. At this point, I made bold to say that business analysis is not the same as project management. And this means that a business analyst is not a project manager, even though we find that in some organizations, that one person most times can perform those two functions, but they are two distinct professions, so to speak. Business analyst is concerned with eliciting requirements, understanding requirements, understanding the need, documenting requirement, coming up with design, getting it approved, managing requirements, and after the requirements have been approved, the project manager takes over. Project manager is concerned with building the solution, and when he's done with building the solution, hands it over back to the enterprise. The business analyst is also expected to go back and do a solution evaluation just to confirm that the solution, the actual value being delivered, matches the potential value that was defined ab initio during the design of the solution, during the draft of the business case. So you can see that the business analysis follows the solution from inception to retirement, unlike the project manager whose responsibility is very definite. It has a start and an end, and it moves over to another project. So I think that's just to rate credence to the fact that business analysis and project management are two different. They're two different things. And so at this point, it becomes, because the IIBA book is the guide or the reference I will be using as we proceed to understand what business analysis is all about. It's only natural that we look at the structure of the BABOK. So the BABOK is structured in this way. It contains knowledge areas, 6 knowledge areas. I've said before that the knowledge areas contains logical but not sequentially related tasks. Then it contains the business analysis key concepts, and these are terms that are needed to understand the concept of business analysis. Then you have the underlying competencies. These are skill set that the BA is expected to have in order to function very well as a business analyst. And then you have the techniques, which speaks to the various methods by which a task can be performed in the course of the practice of business analysis. And then you have the perspectives, which is more like the lens through which you can view business analysis. We'll have 5 perspectives, and we'll see that as we move along. Okay, so in terms of the knowledge area, so the first knowledge area here is the business analysis, planning and monitoring knowledge area. This seems to be the first and of course the most important, because this is where the planning of the business analysis activities happen. And you have tasks here like plan the business analysis approach, plan stakeholder engagement approach, plan business analysis governance approach, and plan business analysis information management approach, and identify business analysis performance improvement. So these are some of the tasks you will find in this knowledge area, and the output of these tasks here is what guides all the activities in all the other knowledge areas. After that, you proceed to the elicitation and collaboration. When we move further, see I will have 4 tasks here that speaks to elicitation and how collaboration, how to conduct elicitation, how to prepare, how to manage stakeholders, and all stuff. We'll see that by the time we'll come to this knowledge area. And then we'll move to requirement life cycle management, where we'll be talking about how to trace requirements, how to maintain requirements, how to prioritize requirements, accept changes to requirements, and how to get requirements approved. So we'll look at that when we get to this knowledge area. We'll talk about strategy analysis, which is a very important knowledge area. In fact, most business analysis activity starts with the task here, which is analyzing of current state. Here we also talk about how to define the future state, how we assess the risk, and how we come up with a change strategy. And the next knowledge area is requirement analysis and design definition. We talk about how to specify and model requirements, how to verify requirements, validate requirements, how you come up with requirements architecture, how you come up with design options, and how you analyze for potential value and recommend a solution. And finally, we come with the last knowledge area here, solution evaluation, where you'll be talking about how to measure solution performance, how to analyze solution performance, how to look at the enterprise, the solution for limitations, how to look at the enterprise for limitations, and how to recommend recommend actions that will increase solution values. So these are things we'll be looking at when we come to solution evaluation. Of all the 6 knowledge areas, is only solution evaluation that's the knowledge area that comes into play when the solution has been built. So that's why it's very, very important that we understand what happens in this knowledge area. So we'll proceed further to look at the structure of a task in business analysis. And we say that a task is a discrete piece of work that can be performed formally or informally. I've given us the listing of some of the tasks across the knowledge areas. So as we walk through, we get to look at those tasks. For each of them, we have it's structured in this format below. So you have a purpose, which tells you the reason why the task is being performed. You have a description that tells you the details, information about the task. You have the input, what needs to be present, the information that needs to be present before you can commence the task. And the element describes to you how a task might be performed. The guidelines and tools are there to also tells you the tools you can use to perform the task and the guidelines that applies to the performance of the task. And then the techniques shows you all the techniques that can be employed in the performance of that task. And the stakeholders are those who are likely to perform the task or the people who might be affected by the task. And then finally, the output is a result produced when you perform those tasks. I've mentioned that we have 5 perspectives to business analysis. So we are still looking at the structure of the Babok. And like I said, perspective is the lens through which you look at the role that BA can function as it practices as a business analyst. So it can function in an agile perspective, it can function in a business intelligence perspective, it can function in an information technology perspective, it can function in a business architecture perspective, and finally it can function in a business process management perspective. And then again, before we try to look at the structure of Babok, I told you when we look at the definition that the words in bold are very, very important because without it, we won't be able to define the business or the practice of business analysis. So, and these are called the core concept models, the BACCM, the business analysis core concept model. So we have the concept of change, which asks the question, what are the kind of changes we are doing? And we have the concept of need, which have asked the question, what needs are we trying to satisfy? We have the concept of solution, which asks the question of what solution are we creating? What solution? Solution, by the way, is one or more ways of satisfying a need. So what solution are we creating? Stakeholders are people who are impacted by the solution. So we are trying to find out who are the solution, who are the stakeholders involved, what value, what do they consider of value, what do stakeholders consider of value, and in what context is all these things happening. So for each of the knowledge areas, we'll be looking at how the this concept model defines the concept of change, need, solution, stakeholder value in relation to each of the knowledge areas. We'll look at those details in subsequent classes just to provide the right perspective and understanding to the concept of business analysis. And as we begin the knowledge area, at the end of each knowledge area, we'll come up with some questions and try to answer them that can help us to understand some of these concepts, so that at the end of the day, just by listening to this course, you'll have a full grasp of what it takes to be a business analyst or what it takes to practice business analysis. And you can comfortably decide just by listening to these lectures to go and sit for the exams. And I can assure you that you come out in flying colors. So we've looked at the core concept model. So trying to look at the definition in a little more detail here to say that the change is an act of transformation in response to a need. So change works to, so the essence of change is just to improve the performance of a system. As we will see as we proceed, you see that the change can lead to a need, and the need might necessitate a change. There's that relationship always between the core concept models. I've said before, a need is a problem to be addressed, an opportunity to be harnessed. That's why I said that there are a lot of connection. They usually trigger changes, but changes can also necessitate a need. I also mentioned earlier that solution is a specific way of solving or satisfying one or more needs. So we've talked about that before. A stakeholder is a group of people affected by a solution or who have an impact on a solution. So it's either they are impacted by a solution or they themselves will impact the solution. While value is what's the worth that stakeholders attaches to a solution. And the context refers to environment. It can be internal or external things that the environment in which the solution is being designed, or in which the context in which the solution is being implemented. So that's the high level definitions of all the core concept models. If you look at this diagram, it now tries to explain in details the relationship between the core concept. So for each of the arrows, you can see it's trying to connect one concept to the other. So for changes, changes are made to implement a solution. So the arrow connecting from changes to solution says changes are made to implement solution. So from solution to context, it says solutions are useful within a context. Okay, so from context to value, say its context is measured relative to value. From stakeholders, or from needs to stakeholders, you can see needs are had by stakeholders. Whereas if you go back from stakeholders to needs, you say stakeholders have needs. If you move from needs to changes, you say needs are implemented through changes. So for each of the arrow, you see the connection. When you move from needs to solution, you see that needs are satisfied by solution. But when you move backwards from solution back to needs, you say solution satisfying needs. So for each movement you make, there's a connection that explains the relationship between the core concept models. That's what this tries to tell us. For the key terms, we'll be talking about business analysis information, which refers to the broad and diverse set of information. So any information, any information whatsoever that the business analyst comes across in the course of his work, that's a business analysis information. Design is a usable representation of a solution. Enterprise is a collection of one or more organization. Organization is a group of individuals under one single management. A plan is a proposal to do something. Requirement is a usable representation of a need. We'll talk about this in detail when we now begin to move into the knowledge area. Risk is the effect of uncertainty on a value. So anything that erodes value is classified as risk in business analysis. And that brings us to the end of this introductory class of business analysis. In subsequent class, again, we'll take another concept or another subject in business analysis, and we'll try to explain it in the way that is most understandable, so that at the end of the day, whatever we're doing, we'll make sure we align it to the Babok guide, so that at the end of the day, it meets people who listen to this class will be able to use it to gain understanding and be able to sit for the certification exams. I remain Ifeanyi Okwowulu, and I'm a certified business analysis professional. Thank you for listening. Bye-bye.